All right. I'm waiting for everybody to come in the room, and also our featured speaker in this particular room. I know that was a lot of excitement that was just taking place. I'm so happy to welcome our global ambassador, Tina D. Lewis. I am honored to be serving alongside you, and she's my coach, and she has really helped me so much. So with all that being said, an amazing win community and conferences. With that being said, we have another amazing guest. Yes, her name is Constance Woulard. She is a native of Gulfport, Mississippi. Her passion is developing leaders and motivating others to be their best. Her speaking is geared towards inspiring others to trust God, refrain from sabotaging behaviors, and step boldly into their divine purpose. Her noted accomplishments are she is a certified keynote speaker, best-selling author, and a visionary leader dedicated to developing the next generation of leaders. She also have an upcoming anthology that I hope she mentions a little bit later. And her featured speech is Bridging the Generational Gaps in the Workplace. Constance, you may take the stage.
Thank you so much, Tina, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some of you, wherever you are. I am just delighted to be on the stage to talk with you and to share with you my experience of working with diverse generational gaps in the workplace. Now, throughout the presentation, I'm going to share my screen and show some slides that I have, just because I want to demonstrate what I'm talking about to help you to better understand what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about today, bridging the generational gaps in the workplace. Now, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I would say, when I came into the workforce, we only had one generational group. And everybody thought alike, had the same priorities, same plans, same goals. Now the workplace is very diverse. We have 4 generation groups in the workplace now. They all have a different set of priorities. They each have a different mindset about life, work, family life. They have different priorities. Some are tech savvy. Us baby boomers, some of us are not so tech savvy. We have one preference of communication. They have a totally different preference of communication. So how do we bridge that gap? So I'm going to show a couple of slides here for a minute, if you'd let me.
Constance, if you need
Yes.
help, you can actually hit the, you see the square with the arrow going up?
Yes, that's what I'm hitting.
Okay, and now it should open up 2 screens. Do you already have it pulled up on your Google? And if you do, or do through PDF, you could PDF if you're using PDF, but if not.
I have PowerPoint right here, so just hit that.
Yeah, just hit that. And
okay, can you see it now?
Not yet. So do you already have it pulled up in another tab on your computer?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when everything pulls up, you look for your PowerPoint presentation, and then we should be able to see it then.
Okay, so that's why I'm not in the presentation. So you're not seeing it?
No, I'm not seeing it now.
Okay, let me go back here and try it again. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is a picture of our brain cells and our nerve cells. And as you can see, they do not connect. There's one here on the top and there's one here on the bottom. And in between each of those cells, there is a gap. So when the cells are functioning normally and there's no illness taking place or anything occurring, transmission of information transfers across that gap from cell to cell to allow the body to move, to allow us to be able to think whatever body function that needs to take place. When the impulses are working correctly, they jump that gap and make these things happen. When a person suffers a CVA or a stroke, impulses are unable to jump the gap and to make it to the next cell. And when that happens, we have what is known as a breakdown in communication. Okay? And so this is what's taking place in the workplace now. We have a gap because each generation has their own priorities and their own ideas about things and their own ways of communicating. How do we bridge that gap? Well, first of all, we need to be able to first understand which group we are in and what's important to us. And then learn, be willing to learn, be teachable, and learn about the other generation gap and what's important to them and their preferred method of communication. And that takes place through collaboration. So I'm going to talk about 3 C's of effective communication in the workplace that will help us to bridge this generational gap. Collaboration. Collaboration is so important in anything that we do in life, any endeavor. All ideas are important. Everyone has different talents. Everyone has a seat or should have a seat at the table. And so when that happens, when you collaborate, you have this wealth of ideas that you can bring together and share and brainstorm. And the amazing thing is when collaboration occurs, it triggers things in your mind. And you'll say, I never thought about that. And so when all stakeholders are there at the table and able to talk and plan and discuss, that is one way to bring about effective communication in the workplace. Now, does that happen overnight? No, it does not. It takes time. But the willingness to sit down and collaborate and the willingness of the other generation groups to be teachable and readiness to learn makes all the difference. The second C, clarity. Clarity is so important. Communication is something that we do every day in life, but it's one of the hardest things that we're able to master. We do this every day. We talk, we converse with one another, but do we really make the other person, or do we allow them to understand what we're really conveying to them? And so clarity is very important. It's very important that we make sure that the other person understands what we're saying. So one thing that we can do as we are relaying information, we can turn around and ask a question of that person that will allow them to say, well, yes, this is what you're saying. This is how I understood it. And in that way, we can determine if the communication is occurring as it should. Again, this is something that does not happen overnight, but it is a working process and it can happen. It can happen. So the first C is collaboration. The second C is clarity. The third C is compassion. Do you care about me? Do you care about my life? Do you care about my struggles? Do you care about my vision? Do you care about my goals? It is so important, especially as leaders, whether it's in the workplace, in your community, in your home, your church, wherever, that we show compassion. People are going through so much now. There's so many life challenges and struggles that are taking place, and we have to be compassionate. And maybe the person needs some things that may not be of a benefit to the organization at that time, but if that person is a valuable part of your team, we have to show some compassion so that we can help that person, so that they can return to being a viable part of the team or the organization. So compassion is very important. Most people want to know, do you care about me? Do you care about me? Give you a prime example. I had a young lady, she could not get to work on time to save her life, mine or anyone else's. She was supposed to report at 7 a.m. She would never get there until 7:30. She had been written up, canceled, and she still couldn't do it. So one day I decided, hey, let's have a conversation with her and just see what's going on. What is preventing her from being at work on time?
Constance,
Yes.
let's see your screen.
Can you see me?
We can see you, but we can't see your slide.
That's what I want. That's what I want. The slide is gone.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, the slide is gone. I just had one slide. It's gone.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So I had a conversation with this young lady, and I said, we've been going through this for months now, and you seem to have a problem reporting to work on duty. Now, this was a young lady from another generation. Okay, so here I am, a baby boomer. This is a millennial. I don't have little children. She has small children. So that's a difference there. We have to take care of our children. We've all been parents, regardless of what group we're in. We have to take care of our children and make sure they're safe before we can move on to what we need to do. And so she shared with me is that no matter how much I try, I can't be here for 7 because my daycare does not open until a certain time. And I said, is that the only thing that's stopping you from being on time? And she said, yes. I said, okay, let's change your reporting time to 7:30. Would that help you? She said, yes, it would. Compassion. I showed compassion on this employee. We changed her duty time. She was there every day on time. Something simple, but just showing compassion can make a difference and help us to bridge that generation gap. We have to show that we care because that's important. And staff want to know that we care about them, about their lives, because this other generation, the baby boomers, we were focused on, hey, we're going to stay with this organization, retire here. That's it. The other generations don't see it that way. Family is very important to them. Their private time and their family life is very important to them, and they're not willing to give that up. And so we have to figure out if we're going to survive as organizations in the workplace, we're going to have to figure out how to work with these groups to do these things. Clarity and communication. Being clear, we have to make sure that we are communicating effectively and clearly and conveying the right message. We have to be careful of our body language as we are communicating, because even though we may be communicating verbally, our body language sometimes tells a whole lot about what's really on our minds and what we are really thinking. So we must be very careful and mindful of our body language and how we present ourselves to others. Compassion. I can't stress that enough. We must be compassionate. Now, I'm not saying just let people come in the workplace and just run amok and do what they want. No, there must be policies that have to be followed. There has to be order in the workplace. But there also has to be compassion. And as leaders, that's one of our roles and our responsibilities, is to make sure that compassion is in the workplace. Because if we exude compassion, it flows through the workplace and others will as well. And that is how you begin to bridge that gap. There has to be an understanding. This is a topic that's very important to me because leading nurses, and at the stage in life where I am now, I'm leading nurses who are the same age as my son. And so I came home one day, I was so frustrated because I just kept trying to convey that same message and no one seemed to be getting it. And I'm like, what is going on? I've done everything I can. I've done this, I've educated, I've counseled. What am I missing? And it dawned on me, you are leading and you are managing what you've raised. These nurses are in the same generation group as your son. And just think about it. When you tell him things, when you talk with him, does he always get it? And 99 times out of 100, he doesn't. So I had to realize that if he doesn't get it, the way I'm conveying it to him, they don't get it either. So I had to revamp and restructure my leadership style so that I could effectively lead and develop this upcoming generation. And that's what we all have to do as leaders. We have to be aware of who is in the workplace with us. We must be aware of who we're in the workplace with, what their needs are, what their goals are, everything. Everything is important. You know, when I'm out rounding from facility to facility, I talk with nurses and I'm like, you know, hey, how long have you been with us? You know, why are you here? What is your why? Why are you with this organization? Why have you chosen to come to work here? And I really hear some interesting things. And so then I take it a step further. So where do you see yourself 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And they tell me. And so at that point, if they're showing some interest in progressing, I show some interest in helping them to get where they are. I offer them mentoring. I work with them. You know, if they're interested, I give them ideas. I give them special assignments to go on with me to other sites to help me problem solve and resolve issues as needed. And so again, that's that compassion in the workplace. They see that as a leader, and not just a direct line leader, but as a corporate leader, that, hey, here is somebody who really cares about me. They care about my development. They care about my family. And so that's how you begin to bridge that gap. And often I ask them, I says, okay, what, you know, if we were to talk, would you prefer I pick up the phone and call you for your mentoring session? Or do you prefer a Zoom meeting or Microsoft Teams? Or do you want to text or you want to FaceTime? What do you prefer? I ask them their preferred method of communication and presentation for their mentoring sessions. And that's very important because you're putting them in a comfort zone. And when you get them in a comfort zone, they are more able and willing to be participative and to communicate with you. And you're able to learn more about them. You're able to bond with them and to slowly and steadily bridge that gap. That's so important. That's so important. I'm going to show another slide. So I love this picture here. And so there's a zipper being zipped. And if you've ever gained weight and try to zip up your jeans and they don't quite zip as smooth as they should, you understand this. And this is what's taking place in our workplace now. There's a gap and we're trying to zip this zipper and it's slowly moving, but it can be zipped. A true leader does not create separation. A true leader brings people together. And that is so important. That as leaders, we bring people together. Okay, I want to stop sharing now. Let's see. Okay. So I'm watching my time because I want to have some time for people to ask questions. I'm looking here at the chat to see someone has put something here. Oh, if somebody tell me couldn't see my screen. Okay, got you. Okay, So does anyone have any questions at this point? Because I can stop at this point and go over some questions and just kind of talk about some of my experiences in leadership over the past 30 years and how my leadership style has evolved from day one, 30 years ago, up till today. Because I will tell you, I've had to modify it and adapt it to meet the needs of the workplace today.
Please share with us how you had to evolve over the past 30 years. Please share with us. Hey, Constance, please share with us how you had to evolve over the past 30 years, because I know they have questions, but they may be a little shy, so I'm waiting to see.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I can tell you that when I first went into leadership, okay, first of all, there was no leadership training. It was trial by fire. You either sink or swim. So that's the first thing that I changed about my style. I made sure that when leaders take jobs now, take roles now, that there is some training, there is some continuous mentoring and guidance. I don't leave them out there to sink or swim, because if you do, you're going to lose them. So you have to provide them the tools they need to be successful in their roles. I can tell you, when I first went into leadership years ago, I had a very authoritarian style. It was my way or the highway. You know, it was just cut and dry. I made a decision. I did not seek their input. There was no collaboration. But over time, I learned that, hey, they are the ones that are actually out there on the front line doing the things that need to be done. So you need to involve them in the decision-making process. That was the second thing I did. I interjected collaboration into my style. Leadership development and mentoring, I just cannot stress that. That was one thing that I really, and I still believe in, and I do because it's so important. I'm not an authoritarian leader at all. I'm more of a thought leader and a visionary. I welcome the ideas of others. I look at things future. What can we do to improve? And that's where I am. I'm very authentic. You know, I just tell things as it is. I share, I'm honest, and I share things with employees that they need to know. So, Tina, that's how my leadership style has evolved over the years.
I love everything that you said and how you've been able to grow with your personal development and leadership skills over the years, because you saw some of your techniques was not conducive to what we need now. And through that, I just see you speaking everywhere and sharing all of these skills. And also you do have a collaboration spirit by bringing together people in your upcoming anthology to share their stories, so that it can uplift other people and have that lasting effect. You know, we say different things, but to have that lasting effect. So I appreciate how you use that training, mentor, guidance, and provide those continuous tools so that they can be successful in the workplace and bridging those gaps that we have, especially now with COVID. We have way more now than we had before. So thank you for being a voice and leading men and women in regards to workplace environment, because we need all the help we can get.
Yes, we do. You know, and we really have to be relatable. Mm-hmm. That's very important. We have to be relatable and not have ourselves on a pedestal as a leader. Mm-hmm. We really have to just have that relationship with our staff and with those that we lead, so they feel comfortable coming to you. Because if there's no comfort zone there, they're not going to interact with you. They're going to avoid you, and nothing gets done that way. Nothing is accomplished that way.
That is a great, great point. So I see that our great co-host, she is in the building, Melinda. I want to know, do we have any questions from the audience for Constance?
Hi, Constance. Thank you for the wonderful session today. And we had a similar question like Martha, and we got the answer for that. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I just want to recap before I end. Well, first of all, I'll recap first. Okay, so the 3 C's of effective communication in the workplace. And it's something that we must really focus on as leaders because our workplace is not going to change anytime soon. Most of us are still working virtually, but even so, these 3 C's are very important. So, clarity, making sure that what we're saying, that we're very clear in what we're saying and the message that we're trying to convey. Collaboration, include the ideas of everyone. Everyone has a seat at the table and everyone has input into the situation to help problem solve. And compassion. If you don't remember anything else I say today, compassion is very important. Our world is in so much need of compassion today because of COVID and how it has affected us and changed our lives in so many ways. And so many things are taking place around us and we just don't know where to turn sometimes. You know, we kind of get comfortable and say, well, COVID is going away, and then boom, now there's another strain and then we're back on the rise again. And so we really need to exercise compassion. So those are the 3 C's of effective communication in the workplace. Bridging the generational gaps, you have to have those 3 C's. They are a must, and you must understand each one of those generation gaps. The millennials, the Gen Xers, the Gen Zers, and then myself, the baby boomers. Thank you so much. I will tell you that I have an upcoming anthology, The Invisible Soul. This is a collaborative project. I'm looking for 30 women and men. If you've ever been socially isolated, overlooked, ignored, or just felt invisible at some point in your life, I encourage you to join me in this collaboration. Your chapter requirements is 1,500 to 2,000 words. You must name your chapter. You can connect with me on all social media. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm on Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram. My website is Constance.Woulard. I'm sorry, excuse me, www.constancewoulard.com. No dot in between my name. And that's my website. My website talks about my different projects that I do, the different services that I provide. So I invite you to go to my website and peruse it and see what's there. And I'm just honored to be a part of this stage today. I thank you all for attending. I thank you all so much.
Again, Constance, thank you. And make sure you guys, you get in contact with her about this upcoming anthology, because in the new season, the season that we're going in for 2022, collaboration is really the key. And the best way to get over self-limiting beliefs and the struggles that we have within is to write it out, because it makes you deal with it.
Exactly.
It makes you deal with it.
It does. It really does. You know, I tell people all the time, it's really like a puzzle, because each anthology that I've done, it's been a different piece of my life at a different stage, and it helps me to put that puzzle together. So I encourage people, anthologies are the key. If you've ever considered becoming an author, or if you just want to do some healing, get some healing in your life so that you can move on and walk into your true purpose, anthologies are the key. They really are.
I agree with you on that. So thank you so much, Constance. And so what we're going to do right now, we're not done with the WYN conferences yet. We have another amazing speaker that is going to pour into you and share their information, their knowledge. The WYN conference is a place for thought leaders, innovative doctors, coaches, lawyers, anyone coming together, sharing our innovative thoughts in order to make a positive impact in the world. So just as Constance and all the previous speakers from yesterday and today, they have indeed done just that, what the WYN conferences stand for, which is making a positive impact in the world, providing opportunities and collaborations, putting you in the right room to meet the right people. So click the arrow over to your left, and we're going to go into the next room. Thank you, Constance.
Bye.
Bye.